call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Here.
Geary, McMullen,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Mayor Vidak.
Here. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I won't be at closed session in collective bargaining.
So we're going to remove items 9, 10, and 11. All right, we will open up the floor for public comment. If you have comment for council, please come to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor, council member, for allowing me to speak tonight at tonight's meeting. I'm here in opposition from the district standpoint for ordinance 2024-31, which is to be voted on tonight, is my understanding. This is the parking lot, parking spaces located on Morrell Street on the north side of the road. We stand in opposition to that because simply it's been this way for as long as anybody's ever told me. I've only been here for a little over 3 years. It's never been an issue. It's never brought to my attention as the superintendent of the district that there were issues across the street. And everybody I've talked to has expressed no concern over the time. I know there's been some comments about, the parking lot that the district does have. Right now, we have currently 229 parking spots in the parking lot. This summer, we are building a CTE vocational building, which will remove 65 of those parking spots. We've expanded our CET wood shop, welding shop. That whole section on the west side of the building is being revamped. And as a result, Mr. Riley's FFA shop, ag shop is being lost. So we're building a building across the street to overcome that loss of his space and add additional space for CTE purposes. Again, that narrows us down to 164 spots. We have a little over 100 employees within the district. And then we also have, this year, 773 students. If you figure that up, divide by 4, you're about 185 kids per class. Juniors and seniors will have licenses. Some sophomores will have licenses. If you figure that out, roughly 2, 4, you're 500 kids. Plus, we understand not everybody will drive. We do understand. So the question becomes, with the parking spaces, it's going to be extremely limited right now as is. Moving forward to next year, if we close even the right side of Morrell Street down, I just think it only adds to the congestion that we will have over there to try to fit everybody. My next question.
30 seconds.
My last statement to the board, or question would be, I guess, is if you do pass this ordinance for the north side of Morrell, staff members then start parking on the north-south roads. Sorry, I'm not familiar with those names off the top of my head. And or 1 block further to the north. Is another ordinance going to be passed to accommodate 1 or 2 or whatever many residents at that point? My question becomes, where does it stop, I guess, as opposed to just saying, go to the southeast school. Thank you for your time. Last night, homecoming game Friday.
Yes,
See you there.
yes. And thank you for coming here from the bonfire.
Yeah.
Anyone else with comment for tonight? All right. Seeing none, we'll go to new business. Item 1, ordinance 2024-30, an ordinance disconnecting the property commonly known as 1713 Sharon Road, located within the city of Streator pursuant to the provisions of section 734 of the Illinois Municipal Code. I will first introduce Daryl Siegler, attorney for the Hiders, and he'll address council.
Good evening, thank you, Council Mayor. I am Daryl Sigler. I represent the owners of 1713 Sharon Road, Craig and Christy Hyder. I think you're familiar with the petition that I filed earlier. I believe you addressed it in a previous meeting, so I won't go into detail about the content. I would like to get into some history briefly. The original annexation of this property has a pretty unique history. It was requested originally in 1998 by Thomas Carestas. He is now deceased. I knew Tom well since 1983, actually, and was aware of this when it was happening back in the day in 1998. Tom requested that the city annex his residential property based on his then existing concerns about his personal security and safety. Tom had been rendered quadriplegic in a very tragic 1983 vehicle collision. And he lived there alone. He was concerned about his security, and I think with the information I have, he petitioned the city for the annexation mainly for police protection. Since that time, Tom passed away in 2015. Tom's brother, William Carestas, Bill Carestas, also now deceased, became the owner of the property through bequest. Bill Carestas is Christy Hyder's father, was married to Shirley Carestas, who is also here this evening. And if they can answer any questions that I can't, that's great, because they were there, I wasn't. In approximately 2015 or 2016, before the sale of this property by Bill Carestas and Shirley Carestas to their daughter and their son-in-law, Craig Hyder, the Carestas and Christy approached the then existing city manager, Scott Wright, and spoke to him about de-annexing the property in 2015 or 16, as I said. In that conversation, I'm informed that Mr. Wright, the mayor, I believe, you might have been there at the meeting as well.
It's July 30th, 2015.
Thank you.
Here.
The information I have is that Mr. Wright had indicated that he wasn't favorably disposed toward de-annexing the property, but made representations to my clients that sewer would be installed and provided to the area, the neighborhood, I guess, for lack of a better term, and the property at 1713 Sharon Road would not pay a hookup fee. That was taken as a representation that was satisfactory, and that the issue, it didn't die there, but expectations continued about sewer and other services. No further effort was made to de-annex. No petition was ever filed, even then. As of the present date, there is no sewer service that's ever been installed and provided. As of the present time, there are no city services provided as to police protection or fire protection. I'm informed that the Streator Police Department does not patrol Sharon Road in that area. I believe that the fire protection district is Reading and volunteer fire department, at least according to the voting cards of my clients. That's what it says. I don't know if that's true or not, I'm just relating that. At the present time, Craig and Christy Hyder actually cannot vote for city officials. Couldn't vote and didn't vote for any of you folks because they can't. Their voting cards and certificates indicate they pay taxes into the Streator Township High School, grade school, like everybody does, regardless of whether you're annexed into the city of Streator. And they pay into the city of Streator. I'll get into a few of those amounts. 2023, the city of Streator Tax District received $2,040.99 on their tax bill. In 2022, the city of Streator Tax District received $1,979.17. And in 2021, tax year 2021, that was $1,754.33. I won't go into all of it. That's to give you an idea of the amount of money we're talking about. Also at the present time, and since 1998, regardless of the results of the 2015-2016 meeting with Mr. Wrighton, the owners have continued to pay that substantial tax to the city of Streator Tax District. They have received no services and no infrastructure from the city of Streator relevant to their property. None. In terms of the discretion that this council has, and it's statutory, you have discretion as to this petition. This is not a judicial de-annexation request. This is under the statute that allows this single parcel owner to request this relief. You have discretion by statute. I would just submit for your consideration that discretion has more than one meaning. Discretion is power of free decision, of course. You have that. You have the deciding power. But it also, in the English language, means having or showing good judgment. And synonyms are prudence, common sense, and wisdom. These people are burdened with a tax levy that provides them with nothing. There has been time to remedy that, sewer, otherwise, whatever other infrastructure or whatever services, that has not occurred. It's my understanding that there's no other property near them in the neighborhood that we're talking about that has been annexed in as a single parcel. So this is a unique situation. I don't think that this is a precedent-setting situation whatsoever if you grant this and approve this petition and approve the ordinance. Because of the unique nature of it, the reason for it originally, and the fact that this isn't a part of a larger area that's been annexed into the city of Streator. These folks' neighbors don't have city services, but they're not annexed, and they don't pay the taxes. The inequity in conclusion in this situation is one-sided. The city provides no services or infrastructure for the money that it receives every year. However, the Hivers receive no services or infrastructure for the money they pay every year. That is an undue burden, I would submit. And in fairness, common sense, wisdom, and discretion, I would ask that you approve the ordinance disconnecting this property. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them or try to. If you have any questions for my clients, they'll answer as well.
I don't have a question, but I would like to make a comment. You said they don't get police and fire service, but I believe if they called 911, 911 knows that they're part of the city. They would get police and fire. Chief, am I?
I have a question. I don't live in the city, but if I call 911, would I get that service?
Are you?
You
I'm on
can
East First Street, directly 2 blocks from them.
No, you wouldn't get it.
I would not get 911?
Well, you
get
would. It wouldn't be
911,
from
but not-
Streator.
no.
You would get
county.
Reading or LaSalle County or Grand Ridge. I don't know if you're part of Grand Ridge or Reading volunteer.
Well,
But because they have been annexed into the city, they would get
How does
But-
the
but
city
The fire and
recognize
police
that?
protection.
Hold on. Mr. Reed, let me address it. I understand exactly what you're saying, but if somebody calls 911, I'm having a hard time imagining, because I've dealt with 911s a lot in my career, that somebody is going to ask who this is and if they're annexed into the city of Streator, unless there's some special bulletin that they might have that they should go to 1713 Sharon Road.
Let's count
Address is on
nine.
computer aided dispatch.
Okay.
Phone appears at dispatch, so they would.
So they know who to dispatch to that
And
address.
that could be because,
Yeah.
to my understanding, 911 has never been called, so, for this property.
Right.
So that, I understand perfectly. On balance, however, in light of the fact that 911 is 911, and we're talking about city services, the tax being paid, the amount that's being paid, and what other residents in the city would receive for their money, I believe my
Yeah.
logic stands.
And out of the five of us up here, I feel like I'm probably the most sympathetic to your client. I've talked to him several times about this issue. And I'm pretty torn on it because I am the most annexation hawkish member of the council, and I have been for 25 years. I think everybody who is contiguous to the city of Streator should be annexed in. If everybody was in, everybody's taxes would drop substantially. Right now, we have 12,500 people paying for an infrastructure 18,000 people are using. Having said that, though, I'm very sympathetic to the hiders because I've heard all this, and they're not contiguous. They're only contiguous by touching agricultural.
Exactly.
They have no neighbors. Everybody else I can find on this map is contiguous by residential. They're only contiguous by agricultural. So I'm very sympathetic to their plight. But I think we would be setting a bad precedent.
I'd like to address that if you don't
Sure.
mind. Precedent, it's always a worry. If you do something, then the next person comes along and says, I want that too. And I don't know the answer to this, but I don't imagine that there are very many properties in Streator that have the unique characteristic of this particular annexed property.
I agree.
So if there is someone out there in an outlying area that the parcel sits by itself and it's been annexed, and they want to come along, that would be precedent, I suppose. But I don't think that there's, unless, please correct me if I'm wrong, that there's anybody else that has, that is likely to request a similar relief. And the reason that it's so appropriate here is exactly because this is so unique, because of the specific circumstances here, where very specific circumstances have to be tailored to. Precedent setting doesn't become a great concern. I think if the general public was going to be involved with being able to request de-annexation for somebody who lives in the 600 block of North Park Street, I would agree with that. I just don't think that that is a worry, because this happened, frankly, a little oddly to begin with, based on Mr. Carestis' request many years ago.
My comment to that is I've already had someone else ask me how they go about doing the same in a similar situation.
You mean there's somebody else sitting out there with,
If you look at we have an annexation map, it's very sawtooth, and it's very,
there's only one tooth on this one with this property, I saw that. So, everybody else all around is not. And isn't the idea of annexation to bring into the city tax revenue and the provision of infrastructure and services? I think that's what it's about. That's the purpose of annexation. This property is, the circumstances are contrary to the purpose of annexation. I think that's all I have. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
as far as voting, that seems like a county clerk error. error on that side of it, because it should be on the ballot. Because it's in the taxing district, that's not, that should be allowed on the ballot. Because there's others, I said there's other people in the neighborhood that are connected by,
In their precinct.
in their, yeah. So they would be in the precinct.
I understand at one time, that there was a request of voting for city council members, and I believe the voting, the poll workers who are not affiliated directly with the clerk's office said, no, that's your ballot. So I guess if the county clerk is the one that has to be dealt with there, I hope that they don't have a rule that says that can't happen, but I
And then,
appreciate the information.
yes, and then I looked at, my other question, I looked at the assessed values of every other house on that block, and theirs is the second highest. The lowest, their assessed valuation, and that's just the taxable EAV, is $30,600 less than this property. So there's a big gap. So I don't know if anything's been contacted as far as trying to get it reassessed overall. I know that's not an easy process either,
Right,
but
but
there's a big,
the reassessment would affect the allocation of the dollar to each tax district, of course, but the situation will remain the same, whatever that dollar amount is. It's paid in with, and apart from 911, nothing in return. That's the big point here.
There are getting police and fire protection. I get it, I've never had a call in the 27 years I've had in my house.
I understand, David, I understand
Right.
perfectly that if that were to happen, I'm sure that they would respond.
Right.
Beyond that, if that's all that annexation will provide to this property, as opposed to other annexation properties in the city of Streator, I suppose that's a very sound argument. However, I think the rest of the annexed properties in Streator typically get other services,
Right.
sewer, infrastructure, curb, et cetera, snow removal. There's no snow removal out there. The township does it. I think you get my point. I don't want to beat that horse too much more. But I appreciate very much you hearing us out.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we will request a motion and second. Okay.
Second.
Okay, Matt McMullen with the motion and Dave Connor with the second. Any further discussion? Or any discussion from council? I think I covered mine. I understand and I'm sympathetic. I do worry about precedent, like Mr. Reed. I would definitely look at assessed valuations. I could give you what everybody else on your block has that's assessed, and show you what their, I pulled all that, I've got extra copies. Because there's differences, and maybe yours is the second nicest house on the block, but I don't, there's some gaps. I also marked who had a senior free, so you could see that as well. But that's my only concern. And if we were to go forward with de-annexing, I would say we have to create some kind of policy that is so specific and unique that it would only qualify one or two houses, because I don't want it to be we hate for it to become a trend, yes. So that's, without any other comment? No. Okay, I will request the clerk to call the roll, please.
This is to approve, correct?
To approve the disconnect, correct.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
McMullen,
Aye.
Nay.
Mayor Breed, aye.
And that was an 8. Okay. Item 2, Resolution 2024-50, authorizing the purchase of a new 2025 Peterbilt 548 plow truck chassis from JX Truck Center, Bloomington, for the City of Streator's Public Works Department. Can I get a motion and second to approve?
Second.
Okay, motion by Tim Geary, second by Matt McMullen. And here's Mr. Long.
I just kind of read through the memo here. In November of 2022, council approved an ordinance purchase of truck chassis through Russ Truck Center and Joliet International Truck Chassis, with also the cost of build out for the dump truck and plow parts through Monroe Truck Body. Since then, well, we were told initially when that order was placed that because of COVID stoppages and parts availabilities, that we would not see that chassis for at least a year. Well, a year came and went, and I repeated calls and could never get an answer when the truck would be here. 18 months went by, I still couldn't get an answer. I was informed at the beginning of about the second week of August that through the second party, the truck body, that we were not getting any chassis anytime in the near future, that the contract had expired and that basically we would have to start all over again. And I was told basically that it would be another year, 2 year plus if we went back to International to try to get a chassis because they are so far behind. So I went out to find comparable truck chassis available in the immediate area, and I've outlined those there. We've got a quote for a Kenworth chassis from CIT Trucks in Peru for $139,108. Basically the same truck and chassis through the JX Truck in Bloomington for a Peterbilt was $126,917. I've laid eyes on a similar quote for a 2026 International of the same build, and then that was around $118,000. But like I said, that is looking at another year out, and Monroe Truck Body already has our dump bed and all hydraulic parts built and sitting there waiting for a truck. At this time, they're not charging us any overage or price adjustment for materials. They're willing to still build along with us. We're not the only ones that are in this situation. There are many others. The total cost of this truck, well, the chassis part was originally around $106,000. That was the original price in 2022. As we know, everything's gone up in the last 2 years. And so now we're looking at that $126,917. And as outlined at the bottom, I recommend that we approve this order as is from JX Truck Center with the attached Monroe truck build out for a total of $230,127, with the $126,917 at the time of delivery of the chassis, and half paid to Monroe for the build out for the parts that they already have, and pay the remainder of the year so that we can get this off the budget for this year that I've been holding on to for 2 years now. So, does anybody have any questions?
I'm glad you found the chassis.
There is a state bid though for chassis?
No,
They don't offer them at all now?
there was when we ordered it, and through time and not being able to order it, apparently there was stipulations in the contract that they were allowed to just let it go away.
So,
I don't know
so it's through the state purchase program, they don't offer trucks?
There is no state bid
Anymore?
for chassis at the moment. the price that we got from the Peterbilt, that's through Sourcewell, which is somewhat discount compared to free market.
So our parts sitting waiting for a chassis. And have been, so. Okay, any further questions? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Erie. Aye. McMullen.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Mayor Beeline.
Aye. Item 3, motion to approve the City of Streeter's 5-year road plan. Can I get a motion and second?
Second.
Okay, Dave Connor with the motion, Dave Reed with the second.
Hello, everybody. So yeah, it's that time of year again. So looking at the 5-year road program. So no changes to the previously approved program, except adding some things in year 5 in 2029. So they're outlined there. The addition of Chicago, Burns, Heenan, Lukens. So basically up there around that area, around the Richard Street area in 2029, and then the 2300 block of T-Yard. So basically all of T-Yard Road up there, north of Oakley. Again, so these are added in based on pavement condition. So every block of street here in Streator has a pavement rating from 1 to 9, 9 being brand new and 1 being terrible. And so we look at that and try to make the annual appropriation money of about $600,000 work into a program there. So proposing those streets in 2029. I did lie. We added in a three-coat pass of oil and chip on Spring Lake Road. So the city annexed Spring Lake Road about 5 years ago. That section of road became our, right, more than 5 years ago, but it became our jurisdiction. Public Works has been trying to maintain it. It's basically getting down to gravel at this point. So need to work it in, and we're gonna try to work it out one more year and then try to put it in 2026 to get that kind of resurfaced and match what happened north of the railroad trestle out there. That's the general revenue side of things. And then the second part down there, Kelly Street Bridge next year. So we've talked about that project before. This is a change, and it'll be coming to you. We initially talked about it. The LaSalle County is still the lead agency and will be funding the project. But the federal money they're using requires a 20% match. So it's a $1 million project. They're requesting that $200,000 come from our MFT. We have it, and they're proposing it here. You'll see it in the budget as well coming up. So the Kelly Street Bridge project, as right now, is being designed by the city and will be ready for letting next year. But that 20% match is going to have to come from our MFT funds, so that shows up. And then the Park and Bilger bridges up just south of North Lawn in year 5. We started to look at the condition of those. They're starting to age. They're older box culvert bridges. We have, knock on wood, we're putting it out here, and they're on, as part of programming, we had to list them with the state as needing work. They have passed committee at the federal level. If the federal government passes a budget, we will receive money to do these bridges ahead of 2029. But the federal government must pass it. But they made it through committee, and if they pass a clean version of a federal budget, with any luck, we'll be back to tell you about that. So, but there's a big place here in 2029 to keep that process moving. So, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Did we make any adjustments from the oxidation ditch?
No, because that's the sewer fund. So,
oh, that's sewer
yeah,
fund.
it's sewer fund. So yeah, during the budget process, we'll talk about the changes there. But next year's program, will still be just as it was last year. Illinois Street from Main Street, wrapping around to Chabonneau, so that piece of Morel as well, heading towards Owens. And then Bronson Street from Park Street all the way around to the Owens docks is our general revenue project side of things. And then we're going to, our MFT project for next year will be the overlay of the asphalt portion north of the docks to 4th Street. So you'll basically have rehabilitation of Bronson and Chabonneau all the way up to match what happened this year on 4th Street.
Will there be sidewalks on any of those?
On Illinois Morel.
Where we're doing the bridges in 2029?
Yes, well, yeah, we'll include, Bilger right now has sidewalk halfway down. We'll clean that up. And it also includes the overlay from Bronson up to Northland. right to First Street.
Okay.
So that estimate includes that.
I don't know if that's something that, there's still for the sidewalks to get to the schools.
Yes, say for us to school. So that's something else we'll be looking at, is another grant there, and where you'd like to see us focus
That
on a
nice
section
coming
down.
from First Street up to Bronson Street on one side there where they,
Yeah.
that road's heavily traveled.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of kids that cross that bridge,
Right.
especially on Park Street, I guess, not
Yeah.
Park.
There's also that safe routes for all, where,
Yes.
because I know we focus for schools, and that's how we did Riverside.
Yeah.
While we're in there, is there anything we can do about the railroad tracks at Chappaqua Road?
The railroad tracks, Chappaqua,
Because those
I
are,
believe, yeah, Public Works, I'll let
Yeah,
Jeff
look at
speak to
those.
it, but I think we're gonna handle it internally.
Yeah, those have been getting a lot of complaints lately. Okay. Any questions or further comment? Okay, clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
McMullen.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Ordinance 4, ordinance 2024-31, amending the Streator Municipal Code to add section 1024-140, creating resident-only parking and designating the north side of the 100 and 200 blocks of West Morrell Street from Bloomington to Jefferson as resident-only parking for City of Streator, LaSalle, and Livingston counties, Illinois. I get a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Dave Connor with the motion and Dave Reed with the second. And any discussion for this? I think everyone had their mind made up at our last meeting.
Pretty much.
The residents turned in a petition signed by everybody that lives up and down the street. Yes, many people are in favor of it, they all are in favor of it. Some of them right now park on the street at night, so that in the morning there's a parking place that they have somebody coming over, they can move their cars and somebody parks there. And I guess the other question I had was, we require apartments downtown and stuff like that to provide off-street parking, correct?
Yes and no.
And then businesses and things like that are supposed to
There's
provide that?
a provision, I believe, that they have to try to do it.
We have parking regulations in
It's
our
a
code.
weird.
And it's like they ask, ask consideration for the neighbors to help them out.
All right, anything else from council? We'll go ahead and vote or I'll call a vote if there's any, changes or other solutions available. After vote, we can look at that further. So clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary.
Nay.
McMullen.
Nay.
Reed.
Nay.
Mayor Beat.
Nay. Okay, item 5, motion to approve a quote to clean and perform root cutting of the lateral lines within the right-of-way of the 100 to 200 blocks of West LaRue Street from Hair Construction. Need a motion and second.
Second.
Okay, Tim Geary with the motion and Matt McMullen with the second.
All right, so you have the quote there in front of you, it's $22,000 and some change, it's a time and materials quote, so Jeff and I will be out there. What this is in 2014, the city lined the sewer main along LaRue Street in those blocks. So basically to prevent root infiltration and collapse of the pipe, the city lined its main. Those rain events we had earlier this year, a couple of residents in those blocks still suffered basement backup. Public Works went out with the sewer main, did an assessment and found that roots were basically falling like a curtain out of the private lateral lines. The city main is fine, but those roots coming down the lateral lines, still plugging out the sewer. So as a result of that, we can root treat and foam agent. Duke's Root Control has done work for the city before, and just working with them to do other spots around town. But we have to basically cut the roots out of the way first, otherwise it's not as effective. You have to get them out first. C already has a contract with Hare. They're doing the sewer lining down on South Vermillion. So this is essentially a change order to that contract. And once we have a final price, but that is a not to exceed. And we're hopefully, we'll drive the camera down there, everywhere there's roots in the lateral, cut them out, back to the right-of-way line, and then root treat it, continuing on to prevent that from happening again.
Are the residents that have the roots coming out their lateral, are they responsible for any of this? Or are we gonna make them responsible for where the right of way is to their house?
Yeah, we're only gonna go to the right-of-way line.
But are they gonna do something with their line then, to where we're going?
Basically, it would be to their benefit to do it, because then they're the only ones that will have the issue. Some of these were so bad, I don't know how they have to be having issues and just not. Either having the root cut and it's not effective, or whatever the case may
But
be.
the roots are gonna come back.
The root's gonna come back, but that's with the foaming agent. If we keep the foaming agent, we do it periodically in many mains around town to keep the roots out. So, but we have to get these out first before we can do it.
So are these sewer lines or are these storm drains?
Sewer lines, actual sanitary sewer lines from the houses.
Okay.
So, beautiful trees on the right of way, they look nice, but they cause havoc in the sewers.
Any further questions or discussion? Thank you. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
McMullen,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Item 6, mayoral appointment. I get a motion and second to approve the appointment for the Streator Police Pension Board.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Tim Gary with the motion, Dave Reed with the second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
McMullen,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Item 7, consent agenda. I need a motion and second to approve the consent agenda with fund warrant totals of $372,108.37.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dave Connor with the motion, Matt McMullen with the second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
McMullen,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Item 8, city official comments.
I just have one quick one. Jeff, what's going on with the Bing Armstrong Park? I know we decommissioned that as a park a couple of months ago. I went by the other day and all the playground equipment's still there.
Right.
Are we gonna remove that?
Yes, we just haven't gotten to it yet. We've
Okay.
had some guys off, we've been down a guy for quite a while now. Some guys have been on vacation, and it is what it is right now.
Okay.
Anything?
No, I'm good.
I just handed council a note for a Tag Day collection. This one's, I don't know, probably years and years and years. Hardscrabble Lions Club's doing their Candy Day on October 12th from 8 to 1 p.m. And they will be on Main Street and Otter Creek. So that, again, we'll follow our ordinance for that. There's also going to be October 7th, ribbon cutting at James Street for the new fountain that was put in. That was through the help of Livewell Streator, Streator High School, and Illinois American Water, and Streator Public Works and such. So that, again, like the others, we'll be doing ribbon cutting for that next Monday. I have,
What's the date and time on that?
it is October 7th at 1:15 p.m. at James Street Recreation. Nothing further, I will request a motion and second to adjourn. Okay, Matt with the motion and Tim with the second. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Connor,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
McMullen,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.